I didn't strike the chime, Mike, but it's time to... Okay, you're good. We will when I cue you. Okay? Yeah, you'll get the yeah. Thank you for playing with us this morning. We have a new system that we're trying out, so we're just moving along as we go, and it's all in the flow. We have a talk this morning that's entitled, "What Do You Want?" The reason that I'm bringing this up is that it's based on the book that we're highlighting for our theme this month, Deepak Chopra's book entitled Power, Freedom, and Grace. Anybody here ever read this one yet? It was a new one to me. It was written in '06, but a lot of good stuff in it. And one of the things that I'd like to share with you is the information that's at the beginning of the book. And it says, over the course of my career, how many of you know who Deepak Chopra is? Pretty much everybody, okay. Over the course of my career, thousands of people have come to me with various problems and challenges in their lives. My career began as a physician, and in the beginning, most of the people I met had some form of illness, such as heart disease or cancer. One day I was sitting with a patient who had heart disease, and I happened to ask him, "Why do you want to get better?" The look on his eyes said, "What kind of a ridiculous question is that?" He told me, "Doesn't everybody want to get better when they're sick?" "Yes," I said, "but why do you want to get better?" He replied, "If I get better, I can go back to work and make more money." For some unknown reason, I persisted in asking him why. "Why do you want to make more money?" Apparently amused, he agreed to play the game and said, "Because I want to send my son to a good university." I asked him why he wanted to send his son to a good university. He said, "I want my son to get a good education so he can build a successful career." I kept asking him the question, why? In the end, he answered, "Because I want to be happy." Since then, I have played this game not only with sick patients wanting to get better, but with anyone who wants anything. You can try this yourself. Ask people what they want. And when they tell you what they want, keep asking why until you hear the ultimate answer, "Because I want to be happy." Happiness seems to be the goal of all other goals, and yet most people seek happiness in roundabout ways. We have material goods such as wanting a better house, a better automobile, or items of luxury. We have goals that deal with relationship. We want to feel safe. We want to feel that we belong. We want to be able to express ourselves freely and creatively. Some of us might want wealth or power. Others seek fame. But if you ask people why they want these things, the ultimate answer remains the same. They believe that if they attain these things, then they will be happy. As I talked to people, I began to have the idea, well, why not make happiness our primary goal? Why seek happiness through all those second-hand means? And I discovered something even more interesting. If we make happiness our primary goal instead of our secondary goal, then we easily accomplish everything we desire. Have you ever thought about that? If we make happiness our primary goal, then we easily accomplish everything that we desire. There is a quote that I think is attributed to Abraham Lincoln, but I understand that might not be the case of where it came from. But the quote was written in 1914, and it says, "People are just about as happy as they make up their minds to be." I think we've all heard that one. And there's a lot to be said for that. People are just about as happy as they make up their minds to be. Although I will warn you that if you take on that philosophy, recognize that you could inadvertently splash in that river that many of us have splashed in, called the river of denial. You can tell yourself you're happy all you want, but if you're in a situation that is not fun and it's not pretty, you're splashing in denial. And you're just telling yourself, oh, I'm really happy, when I'm not. There's a whole way to look at it. So whether you are absolutely happy with where you're at, or you want to be happy down the road because of something, what it's talking about here, what we're talking about here is our feelings. Talking about the way we feel. And this feeling, what Deepak alluded to, and what he says later in the book that I wrote in my thought for the week, is that this feeling isn't dependent upon outside things. This feeling of happiness is a result of the inner feeling of the joy that we are. This quality of God that comes hardwired, just it's automatic thing that we have, is this joy always in us. That master teacher Jesus Christ told us to seek first the kingdom of heaven, and all else will be added unto you. And we all know where the kingdom of heaven is. It's inside us. It's not some far off distant thing. On one day I might get there if I'm good enough, or da-da-da. Kingdom of heaven is totally portable. It comes with us all the time, wherever we go, in this lifetime and in the next experience of wherever we're going, wherever our soul ends up being. That heaven is perfect, right within us. It's a quality of God that we cannot ever lose. It goes with us. That quality is joy. Have any of you ever had that experience when you just, for no reason, there's nothing going on that would give you the feeling of, oh, I'm so happy because, but you've had that joy just well up in you? I know all of us have had that. And sometimes it takes us, kind of like by surprise, like, whoa, what was that about? Well, that's your God presence saying, hello, I'm here, remember me. There's a song that comes to mind at this moment in time, and I'd like to share a beginning of it with you. It's written by Marcy Baruch, sung by Marcy Baruch, and she's going to be my roommate at the Anton Conference this year, yay! So anyway, Mike, can you hit that? It's called This Joy. It's remarkable. This joy is contagious. This joy is invincible. This joy is outrageous. It's more than I dreamed of. I love this joy. This joy is radical. This joy is always waiting. This joy is ravishing. This joy is always creating. It's things I let go of. I love this joy. And it goes on from there. Actually, if you want to buy her CDs, you can go to cdbaby.com and plug in Marcy Baruch, Barush, and you will find her wonderful messages that she has written, all these from her heart and her soul. But the thing that gets me really, that I want to highlight here, is this joy is remarkable. I'm just going to remind you of what the words were. This joy is remarkable. It's contagious. It's invincible. It's outrageous. It's more than I dreamed of. I love this joy. This joy is radical. This joy is always waiting. This joy is ravishing. This joy is worth creating. From things I let go of, I love this joy. Did you hear the last words? From things I let go of. We come into this humanness of life, and we end up collecting stuff. We collect opinions. We collect judgments. We collect things. We collect emotions. And when you get down to it, what we come here with, whole and full and never ever in part at all, is this wholeness of love, this wholeness of joy. And when we keep piling on all this other stuff, we cover it up. But it's always there. So our essence, our lesson in this is to remember to let it go. Let it go. Let it go. I don't know how many grandmothers have shared with me that song from Frozen and their grandchildren singing this song. But it is so true that if we just let go of all the things that we accumulate, that's why this idea of forgiveness is a human thing. To letting go, forgive, let it go. Deepak said, happiness is a state of consciousness that already exists within us, but it's often covered up by all kinds of distractions. Just as a beautiful sunrise might be hidden behind the clouds, so too our inner happiness is hidden behind our everyday concerns. We let all these concerns, all this stuff come up, and it robs us, it steals us of our joy that is right there. So it's taking our attention. So what do we have to do? We have to remember to plug back in. We have to remember to let go of all that stuff and to get ourselves settled in that space and that place and that time. And I'll tell you what, when I ask you how many of you have ever felt that joy just bubble up within you, for me, it happens in meditation. It just happens that I'm just open and receptive, and all of a sudden, like, there's this little bubble that just happens, and it's like, oh my gosh, life is so good. It's interesting because Deepak, of course, is trained as a medical doctor, and he talks in the book about the fact that our mind is not just in our brain. And we've talked about this in our teaching. Our mind, there is one mind, the mind of God, that is everywhere present, that is all, and our mind is a part of that mind, right? But it's not just in our brain. Every cell in our body has a mind, has a knowing. And so he talks about the fact that I have a gut feeling about something. This is a quote. It's often said. Somebody says, I have a gut feeling about something. We're not speaking metaphorically. We're speaking literally, because our gut makes the same chemicals that our brain makes when it's thinking. In fact, our gut feeling may be more accurate than our intellect, because presumably gut cells have not yet evolved to the stage of self-doubt. Our gut cells have that mind in them, and they haven't, quote, I loved it when he said evolved to the stage of self-doubt. But our brain, our minds, have that monkey mind that comes in there with that self-doubt. But boy, if you trust your gut, it's going to tell you the truth. So don't let your mind talk you out of it. How many times have we done that? Man, I just knew that, and I did it anyway. Erasmus, who was the scholar, the Catholic priest, born in 1466, he prepared both the Greek and Latin translations of the New Testament. He said, the summit of happiness is reached when a person is ready to be what he is. That says so much in one sentence. The summit of happiness is reached when a person is ready to be what he is. When we accept this truth of our being, that we are this love and joy and wholeness and expression, how could we get any happier than that? We let go of the clutter. We let go of the stuff continually. It's a continual cleaning out, letting it go, going back to source, back to source, back to our wholeness. James Oppenheim, the American writer who lived from 1882 to 1932, wrote, "The foolish person seeks happiness in the distance. The wise person grows it under his feet." The wise person grows it under his feet. What is that saying? It's saying to me that it's right where I'm at. It's not some far off distant things. I'm not going to be happy when this has happened or that has happened. And we all have our goals. You know, we all have our things that we want to do in this life. But that doesn't mean that we can't be happy right here and right now. We are, in this humanness, we are creating and recreating ourselves on a daily basis. We want to let go of the old and welcome the new, knowing that this infinite being that we are is going to give us this grand, wonderful life that we can live, that we can be a part of, that we have the opportunity and the dominion to name and claim what it is we want in this life. So let's say I want to be happy. I want to be happy. Well, am I happy? Well, whose choice is it? It's my choice to be happy. And if I am in a situation that is one that is not the most fun in the world, then acknowledge that. We don't want to just, go with a happy, smiley face and say all is well. We want to recognize it and know that it's there for a reason. There is something in here that I am to dig through, to unbury within myself that will come forth to allow me to be stronger, to be better, to know that this infinite potential that I am is going to be coming out in expression. Willard Epstein, I don't know who Willard Epstein is, but he said, "If only we'd stop trying to be happy, we could have a pretty good time." Do you know what the synonyms of try are? Attempt, endeavor, struggle, aim, seek, make an effort. Does anybody want to struggle to be happy? That just doesn't, they don't go together, do they? So we don't want to try to be happy. We want to be happy. Be. Oh, there's the key. We can only be happy when and where and how. In this moment. And this happiness, this joy, really, truly goes hand in hand and relates with love. We have that choice to love in this present moment. Right here and right now is really the only time. I was having happy hour with an old friend the other night, and we were reminiscing about various things, and she's another minister. And I said something about, we're going through things in life. And I said, yeah, but I keep telling my congregation, don't stop and take pictures when you're going through hell. And she said, I tell them, don't pitch a tent. So when you go through those hells of life, don't take the picture because later you can show it to everybody. See what happened to me? Or don't pitch a tent to stay there. Keep moving through it is the thing. So that you can create your album of life on those things that you choose to remember, to emphasize, to multiply in your life. I wanted to share with you the reading from our Science of Mind magazine entitled Keep Dancing. Thomas Troward. The true self includes the inner and higher self, which is always in immediate touch with the great divine mind. And from the Science of Mind textbook, we are to believe that God indwells our own life, that this divine presence is sufficient for all needs. In truth, I think we are destined to be opened by the living of our days. We live our joys and we live our sorrows, and hopefully, through it all, we come into the full awareness of who we are as authentic beings. Sometimes we are called further into experience than we'd like to go. But it is such times that allow us to discover what it means to be truly alive. Our darkest moments can bring us into our most brilliant authenticity. Through the good times and the bad, we are sustained by an indomitable spirit within us, the fire of our inner essence. No matter what we are facing, there is something within us that is resilient and solid. In our joys and in our sorrows, we live from this inner strength and fortitude. No matter what shows up in our lives, we can know that there is a part of us that will never be defeated. It is this spirit within that makes life worth living, that allows us to realize the blessing of life itself. It assures us that we'll be all right. We can be fearless no matter what, and know completely and forever that we are tuned in and tapped into a great and mighty power that only wants our joy and happiness. What we realize is that there is more to this business of living than we can possibly know, maybe even in one lifetime. Once the crisis that opens us passes, our only job is to continue such authentic living. And the affirmation is, my power lives within me. Things come, things go, but the power of God in me loves, secures, and supports me always. We're going to have our stuff come up, but don't get clinging to it. Don't take the picture of it. Allow it to be, flow through it, know that it's giving you that gift. We are tuned in and tapped into a mighty power that truly is beyond our knowing, beyond our understanding. And it is here to play through us, to live through us. So don't hold yourself back. Don't think that it's got to be some solemn thing. When you are happy, what's on your face? You smile. I don't know how many times when I get in my car and I drive down the hill to work, I turn on Paco Bell's Canon in D. And the first thing it does for me is, and it does it every time, it's just an automatic thing, it says breathe. Oh yeah, breathe. So I don't know, when you ever drive, do you hold your breath? Like, I breathe and smile. Breathe and smile. Well, that's your homework this week. Breathe and smile. Know all is well. And so it is. Namaste.